Well, I guess we're live. How's it going, guys? Thanks for tuning in tonight. Unfortunately, it is just myself for the show tonight, so just bear with me. But we have a great show for you. We have an awesome guest, and I'm really excited to kind of pick her brain, just get to know her a little bit more, and let you guys kind of hear her story as well. Her name is Rachel Ravensvale, and if I'm pronouncing that last name wrong, I am terribly sorry, but she is, I'm going to let her say it in her words, what she does. And I think because that's the best way to go about it. But let's bring her on.
Hi there.
Hey, Rachel, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. You can hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Excellent. All right. We're already going off good. So, did I pronounce your last name right?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. I'm always, worried that I butcher names or whatever. But so I'd love to hear out of your words, your own words. How would you? What is it that you do? What is it that you bring to the table for us?
I'm a paranormal investigator. With Liminal Shadow Paranormal is my team.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's with just my husband and I,
Nice.
But I consider myself also an intuitive, like a more of a clairaudient empath. Is the wording that I choose to use, which means I can feel and I can also hear the spirits and the energies, the different energies of locations we investigate. So
very cool.
It's pretty exciting stuff. I love it.
Now, I'd love to hear how you got into it, but I'm curious, a lot of people start from the beginning and say, this is how I got into the field. What was it that, not so much paranormal moments, but was there ever maybe TV shows that you watched or, just different genres in that way that kind of sparked your interest in this stuff? Or was it genuine spirit interaction that got you started? I'm curious which one it would be, or maybe it's both.
Yeah. I would say that initially the spark was definitely more like spiritual activity when I was a child. I was about 9 or 10 years old. Oh, wow. I think it was right after my grandfather had passed away, and I was at my grandparents' house, and I was staying with my grandma, which I often did a lot. Both me and my sister did. Whenever my parents would like to get away for a weekend or whatever, we went to grandma's house. And so I was over there and staying the night, and woke up in the morning and I went out into the living room like I normally went, and out in the living room there stood my grandfather.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wait a minute, you're dead.
Right, yeah.
It just didn't, it took a second to be like, I can still remember this pretty clearly of where I was just like, what am I seeing right now? I don't know, I'm shocked. So the only thing I did was I kind of yelled for my grandmother, come here, grandma, come here. And she, of course she thinks something is wrong. And so I come there and I said, somebody's standing in the living room. And she goes, and this is the best thing I think, she could have ever done, was that she just made it normal for me. She said, it's just grandpa. It's okay. She said, he comes to visit me. Aww. And he's like, she said, I'll tell him that he needs to go. And so she spoke to him and said, Grandpa, you're scaring Rachel. You need to go. And the only way I can say it is he kind of phased out. Maybe that's the word I would use.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, he kind of just disappeared. It just was like, but not like all of a sudden. It was just like,
okay, almost like in Star Trek when they beam out,
yeah, kind of like dissipated. It wasn't like I saw a beam of light or anything. It just kind of just dissipated is the only word I could use.
Sure.
But yeah, and then that just, what it did is just actually had me with like more questions, obviously, than answers. And I think then from that point on, I started getting, I guess it kind of opened the door for more things to happen to me. And so that's where I kind of really started like my interest in it. And then it just got, I would say intensified by the fact that, there later on in the years, there was shows where actually people were out doing investigating, and it was like, I want to do that, and it wasn't. And it wasn't until I got here to Tennessee that I was able to actually. I was just lucky enough to find a team that had an available slot that I could join in on, and that they allowed me to join in. So, but awesome. Before that, I was like, wherever we went on vacation when I went with my husband and we went on vacation, it was always to somewhere. Poor guy. I would take him to like somewhere, that I wanted to go that had historical significance, that had a lot of history to it, that I wanted to investigate. Like if I could get on a tour, if I could get into where they would actually do some sort of like minor investigating, I would do it. So went to places like, obviously I went to like New Orleans and Savannah and to Salem, to even in cities like New York, I would find places where we could take the tours. And then locally, when I was back home in California, we went on to Alcatraz. We went to we went to Winchester Mystery House.
How was that? How was that in person? Like, I've heard there's all the different rooms and the secret passageways, but what's the energy like in that place? It must be wild.
Crazy.
I bet.
Crazy. I had a crazy experience. We were lucky enough since it was kind of like because I lived in the Bay Area, it was kind of like in my backyard. And so to speak. So it was like I had all this, opportunity to go there multiple times. Hello. And so it was, they had basically done an invite to us for those who had kind of been there multiple times. And they said that they were going to beta test like a behind the scenes tour. And
I'm trying to do the orientation on my camera, right? Yeah. Hello, everybody tuning in. So go ahead.
And so I was like, hell yeah, we're going to go on a behind the scenes tour, because it was going to be something that they haven't in locations in the house that they've never put on like their regular tour. And so I was like, oh crap, we're going, That was so cool. And so we got up to this one room. It was like at the very top of the house. And it was like a very roughly framed in room. There was nothing but like, there wasn't walls or anything to it. It was just beams of wood, all around. And it was empty. It didn't have any furnishings in it. And I walked in that space and literally everything started spinning for me. Like the whole entire room, just like, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to pass out. Like, Thanks. And I went over to telling my husband, I was like, I don't feel right. I'm dizzy. Like the room is spinning. And he's like, let's just go out of the room. and see how you feel. And I was like, but I want to know what this room is. And he is like, we can listen from like the hallway. So we went out of the room, and the second I went out of the room, it stopped.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I was listening in because I was like, I need to know what this space is. Like, it's crazy, whatever it is in this space. But I was like, this is nuts. And they basically said, well, we believe this was Sarah Winchester's original seance room.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense right now.
Right. Yeah. Oh, man. That's okay.
Like,
So, yeah, that does make a lot of sense.
The energy was just swirling in that space. Like,
Yeah.
and I couldn't tolerate it. It was way too much. It was just overpowerful. But
Mhm.
now,
do you think that's because she never closed anything out or never put any protective measures up? Is that why you think that was still there?
Yeah, I don't think she ever
Yeah.
closed it. I think that she was in constant communication,
Okay.
nightly is what they say. And she had multiple seance rooms in the house. And she never slept in the same bedroom either. Even though they have one room that says this is Sarah's bedroom, she moved around because she was so afraid of the spirits. Like, because she was told that, there was a curse on the family. Her husband died, her child died. And it was after that she started trying to communicate, because she lived during spiritualist movement.
Oh, yeah. Like with the Fox sisters and all of that?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yep.
she highly believed, and there's encoded throughout the property, you can see different things for the spiritualist movement that they really believed back then. But she highly believed in the spirits, and she really wanted to connect to her husband and her child. And what she was told during the seances was that basically, because her husband's family was the Winchester, they were in charge. They were the ones who made the Winchester rifles, the repeating firearm company. And she was told that because they created this gun, and this gun killed so many people, that these spirits were back for revenge. And they were basically like after her too, because now she was the one headed the Winchester repeating arms company. I'm sure she had a board of directors or something like that back then, because she lived all the way in San Jose, but she was the one who had all the money after her husband passed. And I think he was running the company at that point in time. So she had so much money, she didn't know what to do with it. But what she decided to do was they just continued construction of that building up until the day she died. The day she died, everybody put down their hammers and their, saws, and construction ceased, and it had never resumed. So what you see there is how the house was when she passed. So
that is very cool. That is very cool.
Yeah,
you had said earlier that you're clairaudient, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm curious. Well, and you also said that you saw your grandfather. Was that the only time that you had a clairvoyant experiences with spirit, or was that something that maybe shifted how you interact?
It might have been. I mean, and I think that, and I don't know if you experience this too, but I think that when you're kids, you're a little more closer, I want to say, to that end of the veil, where maybe you don't have so many of your guards and boundaries up. You're more open. And I think that that's probably why I was able to see for a long time. I actually, purposefully, I think, closed myself off from a lot of that because, I was unfortunately in not a great relationship with my ex-husband. And, he just kind of made fun of me and my abilities, and that kind of being sensitive, he called it, like being sensitive is not a good thing. And, and so, I was with him for a long time, and it wasn't, the best of like relationships, not a true partnership. And, I was able to finally get out of it, but, took me a while. I had to go through, therapy and that kind of thing. And then when I came out here to Nashville, that's when I was able to get out there and start investigating. And I had to kind of relearn how to open myself back up. And when I did, it sort of seemed like things changed, right? I've seen certain things out investigating where I've seen shadow figures. Yeah. So, I mean, but I haven't seen he would have been considered probably the holy grail of what I'd love to find, which is this full-bodied apparition, right?
Absolutely right. Yeah.
But maybe, it was in his home and I was grandchild, and, there might be a safer way to, show yourself.
That makes sense.
Anybody, so.
Yeah, who better than to come to your granddaughter, who loves you and is accepting of you and things like that,
Exactly. Yeah. And you're in his house, or what was his house, and, in a space where, it was okay for him to come around and speak to my grandmother, because if my grandmother was experiencing him all the time, then, that was what he was used to doing as well. So.
Now, is your grandmother just as gifted as you are when it comes to this stuff? I know you said that she kind of nurtured it, but.
Yeah, the funny thing, I was talking to my dad recently, and I was asking him, because I really wanted to know if this was like a true memory I was having, or like something else. And I said, I don't know if you remember when I was little, and if I ever told you about the experience of seeing, Grandpa. And he was like, oh, you did. And you told me right after we came and picked you up, and you had you told us everything. And he's like, and he was like, I don't know if you remember. But he was saying, because it's his mom and dad. And so, and he was saying, Grandma used to talk to me and saying that she was seeing spirits that were coming in and out of her closet all the time. Okay, and I was like, what? And then I was like, wait a minute, maybe and then it kind of jogged a little memory about her telling me that same story. Yeah. Yeah. I just see that too, about that. Is it Nicole that was just saying? I saw that where she said she saw her father's apparition.
Yes, so, she dropped that comment there. Yeah.
Let's
see. Let's see. Oh, yep, there it is. I was able to see my father's apparition. That's pretty rare, I think. Yeah. It's fast. I mean, much to your credit. I mean, I think that, with her father and with your grandfather, like you said, you made a great point about them being comfortable and in their element. And, it's almost like a lot of things work together to be able to facilitate that love and that ability to see them, in my opinion, that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah. And I just know all the time that grandmother, she and I was her first grandchild, and so we have a special connection, and anywhere it's crazy. Anytime I get a reading or anything anywhere, everybody's kind of she's always there. She's always the first. She'll even come to she came to this one reader that I was having a reading done by. I think she was doing tarot cards or something, but she was interestingly enough, this woman came to me, and I didn't know who it was for, because it was a group of us that we were having this kind of reading with her, and she was like, this lady came to me and she was speaking Spanish. My grandmother is originally from Argentina.
Oh, that's wow. Okay, that's awesome.
Speaking to me in Spanish the entire time, and I kept telling her, I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what you're trying to tell me.
Right.
If there's some other way you can show me, that'd be helpful. But she was like, I feel like you're connected to somebody I'm going to be reading. And, and she was like, and I was the first person she was reading, and she was like, it's you. I know it's you.
Yeah.
And that was like, yeah.
That's me. Yeah.
That's my grandma.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love her. She's always around. I feel her a lot too, I
Yep.
get used to like feeling what her energy feels like, and I just know she's around.
That's awesome. I love that she was, very much supportive of that your grandfather was there, and that she was like, no, 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 it's okay. I'll talk to him. Like I like that she was like that.
Yeah. That and I like the fact that she made it normal. It wasn't like
Yeah,
you're
100%.
crazy for seeing something like that. And I think that I think if a lot of it more adults would be that way, and just like when their kids are saying like I'm
Hmm.
seeing things, like
Yeah.
really believe that that might be a possibility,
Right.
you know
Yep.
because I do think that is often the case.
I agree. And it'd be interesting. Like, my daughter is 16, but she's getting more into trying to figure out her own gifts and abilities and stuff. She actually did a reading for me the other day. And she's like, I feel like I'm making it up. And I was like, even if you feel like you're making it up, just go for it. Because chances are, it's gonna hit. And it did. It was wild. But interestingly enough, I think she's only started to get more into that as she was gotten more into her later, more teenagers years.
Yeah.
But I wonder, and I never discouraged any of that, but um, I wonder if she was doing it then and I just didn't pick up on it because I wasn't doing it when she was little either.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
think you're right. I think we need to nurture our children to let them know that this is more normal than it is anything else. It's everybody has this ability, I think, in my opinion, and I
Yeah.
think nurturing that's a good thing. So
Yeah.
I'd love to really talk about is it Liminal Shadow Paranormal, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how did that get going, and who is a part of that team?
Right now it's just me and my husband.
That's
I've
great.
had been Yeah, I've been on a couple of different teams, and unfortunately sometimes it's has something to do with personalities or schedules, or whatever the dynamics are. It's just better that way, because then the two of us we can go someplace, we can take off tomorrow and go and do it. It's not
Exactly. Yeah.
having to, but we do a lot of collaborating with a lot of different teams, because I think it is important to get I think different perspectives from
Yep.
different approaches that investigators have, because I think we can learn from that, because
Yeah.
I think everybody does it a little different, and then also I think it's great to like just talk about those experiences that we have amongst each other, because then it could be like, well, oh, okay, that you had that experience, wow, that's awesome, and it might help us figure out some
Right.
answers to questions that we have.
Yep. And I think truly that, much to that kind of what you were saying is like maybe there's a spirit at a location that is more comfortable with women, or they're more comfortable with men, or maybe they're more comfortable with a certain age demographic. Like I know people that do paranormal investigating and they're in their 70s, and there have been other people or energies at that location that are kind of more in that demographic that feel more comfortable talking to them than they ever do me, or maybe some younger folks on teams, or even younger people. There's one location I went to just recently where there was a little girl there, and it was a kids group. It was the first time we ever had kids at the investigation, and you wouldn't believe the activity we got. It was
Yeah.
wild, more so than ever before. So, and
Yeah.
I like learning from others as well. I think that's a good thing. So I'm glad you guys do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's a great thing. I mean, we've learned so much, and just because we really set the intention that this year was going to really be like one where we
Mhm.
are just going to dive in and do investigations with other teams, and just really learn as much as we can from them
Yeah,
too, and get to see many more locations that we wouldn't have been able to see alone. Unfortunately, it is
yeah.
an expensive hobby to have. Um,
It is.
so
Yeah.
any way you can help mitigate the cost of it is is what you have to
Right.
do to get
I
out
totally
there.
understand that. Now, is
Yeah.
there ever a location where you investigate it and you're like, you know what, I am never going back there? Like that is too much for me. Like whether it's energetically or spooky or both.
I haven't been to a location yet, and I don't know. Maybe I should knock on some wood
Knock on,
sometime.
yeah, I'll knock on my wood. Knock on my.
Because it's like, Yeah, I've had, you know, pretty good experiences almost
Nice.
everywhere we've been. There was probably the one location that I would say was not didn't like scare me, but it was intense.
Okay.
Was at Brushy Mountain
Oh
State
man,
Penitentiary.
I've always wanted to go there. Always. Like since I heard about it, I looked a little bit. I think there was like YouTube stuff on there, and I
Yeah,
was just like, that place looks unfriggin' real.
it's pretty crazy. It's
I
pretty
bet.
crazy. I've been a couple times. Yeah, and the last time I was there, I had an experience in like one of the buildings that they call the building the hole. The hole is technically on the bottom floor of this building, but in the
Okay.
upstairs they had it where they would do like the inmates would do laundry. So we
Awesome.
kind of started the investigation at that building in that spot, and it was like right from the get go. Um, I was like feeling like I was like, something's in that corner. And I don't know what it is, but and I was telling, kind of the friends we were investigating with, and one that she used to be part of the team I was on, and she and I were together, and we had similar experiences a lot because we're both, kind of have an intuitive gift there. And so I was like, I don't know, but I'm feeling something. And she was like, yeah, that corner, right? And I was like, yeah, right there. And she was like, yeah, it's intense. And then all of a sudden it felt like it was not, I didn't feel like a presence on me, but I felt like real heavy, like on my chest, like I couldn't catch my breath. Like I was like it was just
Yeah.
taking everything from
Yeah.
me to try and breathe. And that part was kind of freaking me out a bit. So I was like, my husband was there, and I was like, I can't catch my breath and I need to get out of this space, and I got pissed at
Yeah.
him because like he wasn't taking it as seriously as I wanted him to take it at that moment, because he wanted to stay and still
Right.
investigate because they were getting a lot of stuff coming through. And so I was like, well, I've got to get
Right.
out of here, and as soon as I got out of that space
Right.
too, and I got out into the courtyard area and was able to kind of ground myself, then it was like, it got like I was able to get that energy to just get off me. Is the only way I could say it, because that's the way it felt. It just
Yeah.
felt like the intense pressure. And I was like, back off.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Boundaries, guys. Boundaries. Jesus. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and Brushy Mountain was well, you said it was a prison, right?
Yes. A
So
very
yeah, I mean that's
For the state of Tennessee, yeah, it was one of the main prisons for a lot of years, from like I would say from like I think it's the late 1800s till I think
holy
they
cow.
closed it down. I want to say they closed it down maybe in the 80s.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it was, a good, at least close to 100 years as a prison. And the prison was actually crazily, it was built by, a lot of it was built by the prisoners themselves.
Oh man.
So they used kind of slave labor, like use the prisoners
Oof.
as, yeah, yeah.
That's
And
intense.
unfortunately, some of back then, the world wasn't a great place. And if you were just in for a misdemeanor crime all the way up to killing someone, you were thrown in the same place, right?
Right.
And sometimes they would also be throwing kids there that were, young juveniles who,
Yes.
were getting into trouble. They'd put them in with these criminals, and it just wasn't a good place for anybody to be, but, let alone that. So, and the space itself, like I think, I believe a lot in what they call stone tape theory, place memory.
Yes.
Um,
Yep. I'm glad you said that because I
so
was going to pick your brain about place memory, but
yes, yes. So I think that there's a lot there besides like what we see today, which is the prison, right? Yes, that building is going to hold a lot of energy and a lot of energy for a reason. But the land itself, I think, holds a lot of energy before the prison was even there. I think that the area, you know, being so close to kind of the Appalachian Mountains, that's a whole vibe in itself. But then, you know, it being, you know, Native American.
Oh, wow.
There. So I think that when you're at Brushy, there's so many layers like that you're going to encounter. So I always try to impress on people, especially if they're kind of maybe first investigators getting out to a location, or even just novice, like, you know, people just wanting to experience things at haunted locations, to take heed that they may not, what the building they may see today is not representative of what energies may be there. Because because I think that every place has a history, right? It's got, absolutely. And I think that what we're discovering is that, you know, the land itself may either hold in or contribute to allow it, giving these energies some way to manifest or just be able to make themselves known, in some way, shape, or form. Because what my research has shown, and this is the whole premise to stone tape theory, and you know, this is a theory that goes back to spiritualist times as well, where they were really starting to kind of connect the dots to that maybe it's not just like a ghost just wanting and like having to do with like psychic abilities, and that like that has a piece of it, right? But that there is so much more to it. It could be that the rocks, like limestone is a big one, granite, quartz. Okay. We know that those materials, they have an energy themselves. We know that quartz, right? Our phones have quartz in them, right? They store energy. And so, and I think that they can amplify energy. They have what they call piezoelectric properties to it. If you took two quartz crystal rocks together and you smash them together, you can actually see the sparks that come off of those. So we know that they have the capacity to hold energy. So it's kind of like, okay, you have that, and let's just say on the land, you may have a foundation that has limestone or granite, which has some quartz in it. And then you also, let's just say you have a spring of running water. And so now you have two ways that the energy can be stored and or amplified.
Interesting.
So if you've got that, and then you've got this layer of history, let's just say the Civil War took place on the land, and now it's the whole trauma of those energies can be like just trapped like in it, playing back like a residual haunting, right? That it kind of gets like the stones themselves can record the energies and then play it back. And so those are some of like the theories that have been around literally for a couple 100 years, and I think we're just starting to delve back into and rediscover them, that like maybe not every haunting is a true, like, you know, active haunting where there's like, you know, a spirit of a person standing there in front of you talking to you. Yes, that might be some part of it, right? But the other part of it could be that there could be a residual haunting happening as well. So you may have multiple layers of things going on at the same time.
That's why. Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. Now, do you feel like, you know, with residual hauntings that it truly is just a playback of a moment, or do you think that there's in any way that you could actually communicate with the energy that's going on there? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that if there are, I think you can have both happening at the same time, where you can
Okay.
actually, there might be, some, spirit that is trapped there and does want to communicate with you. But then at the same time, you could be having energy where it's just like playing on a repeated
Mm.
loop.
Yep.
Like sometimes when we're hearing footsteps or,
Yeah.
doors opening and closing, and there is not a lot of interaction,
Right.
intelligently back and
Yep.
forth. Then you might say, oh, okay, this may be more of a residual haunt, especially if you're talking to the people that maybe either live there or work there or whatever, and they
Right.
keep saying that they're experiencing them, and you can kind of notice that there's a pattern to it. Then you're like, maybe that's more than just something intelligent trying to communicate to us. Maybe it's has a residual component to it.
Yep. That makes sense. And then on top of the amplifiers, or the things that might be storing that kind of record, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different also energies that we can pick up doing paranormal investigating. And I'd like your opinion on this. There's people that talk about the residual hauntings. There's people that talk about more intelligent hauntings. There's things like poltergeists. There's things like shadow figures. Now, do you find that a poltergeist could maybe be confused with a spirit that might just be mad that you're in its space? Just be like, hey, get out of my bar. This was my area, and now you're intruding on that. Or because there's some also people that think that a poltergeist is more manifested. Like, where do you feel about that?
Yeah. I mean, it's a tricky situation. I think sometimes poltergeist activity may be
I know, right?
caused by a human themselves that is still alive, that don't
Right.
understand that they have like maybe like a teenager is a good, I think, a good example of what a poltergeist may be, that they may have some PK, which is psychokinesis or telekinesis. They have some way of that they're just angry or whatever, and they don't have an outlet of how to express themselves, and so it may come out as poltergeist type
Okay.
activity. That's one piece of it. The other piece, it could be just an angrier energy, like that doesn't want you in their place, like that's the thing with the paranormal, right? Like there are a multitude of answers that come through.
Sure.
Yeah, at the
I'm always curious about
same
people's
time.
thoughts on that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that there could be it really can be just location specific, person specific. It's like what
Mhm.
are the right what are the right factors for it?
That's true. Yeah, a lot of variables that kind of go into certain things that make you know spiritual activity happen, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
absolutely.
Now I'm curious too. With how long have you been doing the actual investigating? I know you said that when you were 9, you saw your grandfather, and then maybe you kind of didn't do much. Is that right? And then you kind of got back into it. So how old are you when you really started getting back in, like diving in head first?
It hasn't been that tremendously that long. It's
Yeah.
been
Okay.
since like 2022. So,
Okay. Great. That's cool. And
mhm.
was it always just you and your husband? I know you said you had worked with other teams, or people,
Yeah,
but was it always just kind of you and him?
I was on a couple of teams. So yeah, I was on an all-female team here in Tennessee for that's where I started
Yep.
initially. And then I was with them for maybe like 2 years, something close to 2 years, and then kind of split and started my own team with kind of a friend at the time. And we did that for a couple of years, and then that didn't really work out that well. So then I was
Mhm.
like, I'm better doing it on my own. So I wrote with my husband, and I was like, if I'm doing it on my own, you're doing it with me.
That's right. Did you have to drag him kicking and screaming, or was he pretty open to it?
No, he's pretty open to it. I think that he considers himself like an open-minded skeptic. Like
Yep,
he
that's great.
wants to have an experience. He hasn't had like what he would claim, proof, but there's been things that are harder to explain for him, like especially
Sure.
when we capture things on camera, or EVPs are a big one, like because they'll be like, I know who's in the room with us when we're doing the recordings, and like we're getting this other voice, and apparently, like, I might hear it, not everybody else is hearing it, until we go back, like, a couple days later and replay it on our recorders to go through the evidence. And we're like, sometimes you'll hear me like, did you hear that voice? And it'll be like, no, people will be like, no, I didn't hear anything. And I'm like, but I swear I heard a whisper just say, X, Y, and Z, whatever to me. And I'm just like, okay, but then it'll be there and you can actually hear the voice. Like we've gotten some really good MVPs. And I think still have one on, I think it's on the Instagram right now. At Harriman Hospital, there was a room full of us that had this experience. It was an old hospital in Harriman, Tennessee, and I think it closed. It closed relatively recent, like within the past like 10 years. So,
oh, no kidding. So it's still pretty up to date then, yeah.
Yes, yeah, still looks like hospital that people could still be being taken care of there. Like they still had hospital beds and a bunch of the equipment and all that stuff is a lot of it's still there. But we were up in one of the areas that is kind of like, I think they called it like a step down unit. So it was like after intensive care, if you were to get out of that, you'd go into like a unit that would be just a level down from that. And we were in that space, and there was my friend Alicia and her friend Beverly, and then our other friend Sheila, and we were there. And Alicia had just done Estes method, and her friend Beverly was doing Estes at that moment when we had this happen. And so she was lying in one of the hospital beds, and she's under sensory deprivation, has like the noise canceling that's like going with white noise coming out it, and blindfold on. And Alicia and I, in the video, you can hear us talking to each other, and she was saying that she really felt like under Estes, like that she was like she was hearing a doctor saying that he was angry about that we were in their space while they were trying to work. And I said, that's crazy, because I feel like we're in this room right now and there's nothing but doctors and nurses all around us right now trying to do their job, and we're in their way. And then you hear this voice, and it's probably the loudest, clearest EVP I think I've ever heard. And we heard it audibly. So it was a disembodied voice. And it says, I see you. And after that, you hear me say, unfortunately, you hear me say, what the F, and then at the same time as I'm saying that, because it really sounded like it said it right in my ear. It was so loud. But the interesting thing, at that same time when it happened, our REM pods were going off. We had a paranormal like tripwire. It was going off. So all of the equipment was going crazy at that time that it happened. And everyone, Alicia and Sheila, who weren't under Estes, right, they heard it like it was in their ear too. But Alicia then grabbed my hand because she thought maybe it was coming out of Beverly for some reason. And she pulled me on top of Beverly. And then you hear like, it was just utter chaos, because then you hear Beverly scream because she didn't know anything that it was going on at the time. So this all happens in this video that's like literally like 30 seconds or something. But it was wild, because, and then like afterwards, because like I initially thought like in the moment, like it was saying literally, I see you with my eyes, kind of I see you. But then I thought afterwards, well, maybe it's trying to say this is the ICU and we're
Oh
trying to
yeah.
work and we're trying to
No
work
kidding.
because that's what we were
Yeah.
talking about in that moment and feeling in that space. So it was like nuts.
That's that is nuts. I mean that, and that makes so like it's so crazy. I mean, like thinking that like I see you. I mean, you would think that let's yes, I physically see you with my eyes, but you make a great point. You're in a hospital, in the ICU. There's a lot of hectic things going on, especially with what you felt. Like that's cool validation. Like holy shit, that's awesome.
It was crazy. It was crazy. I mean, I've heard other like disembodied voices like that, but usually they're very soft and sometimes you can make
Right.
out part of what they say. Um, sometimes you can't. It's kind of like they're very whispery and just
Right.
very
Yeah.
soft. But this one was like loud and clear, like, hey,
Yeah. Yeah. Get out of my
get out of
workspace, damn it.
here.
I'm trying to save lives. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's
Unreal.
exactly the crazy thing because that's what we were feeling. And that prompted like me to think from like that point forward. I kind of like was thinking, okay, so, are they existing in a reality that is parallel to ours?
Okay. Yeah.
And then at certain places, like let's just say Harriman Hospital,
Hmm.
um, there's a factor that could be there, like maybe there's some sort of limestone foundation or coarse foundation or something, and
Yeah.
it's holding the energies there or amplifying them. Um, and so, and then you get on top of that intuitive people that go and investigate in these spaces. So now you have these perfect conditions for this activity to happen, right?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
maybe that's where we say the veil is thin. So is the veil like thin
Okay.
in a place like Harriman Hospital? Um, because and are we just intersecting somehow that veil where we're each, we're each having, like I often ask now in the when I'm on investigations, can you see us? You
Right.
know,
Yep.
can you see us? Because like we want to see you, but we can't see you. If there's
Right.
a way that you can show us yourself, like, if you need more energy, like let us know. Like we're just here trying to communicate with you because
Yeah.
there are times that we do see or hear you or feel you, and we just want to know. And that is one of the questions I will ask, and the other is like, what time period is it to you,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Because then I'm wondering, like, if they're still in their time period just along our time period and they're paralleling, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then occasionally we intersect and it's like, okay, maybe like this is a place where we can get some of those answers, you
That's
know?
cool.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it kind of shifted the way I think about asking questions. Like, because before it was kind of
Yeah.
like asking the same old questions. What's your name?
Well,
Like,
yeah. Yeah. Right.
you
Yeah.
know,
How did you die? That sort of stuff. Yeah.
that's one of the things I don't like to ask because, like, that might be a touchy subject to some people, like, or some
Yeah. Could
spirit.
be. Yeah, could be a little triggering for those that maybe had died in tragedy or whatever. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it might be like, much more of like, what did you do when you were alive? Kind
That's
of
good. Yeah.
yeah, just shifting, how I investigate a little bit, and that, maybe that'll prompt us to be able to get more of the answers we're looking for.
I think that's perfect. And I think that, honestly, I think more people should take that approach. Like, break some of the walls down a little bit and just treat them exactly what they are. They were humans, whether they were, in their physical bodies once. Just because they're in a spiritual body doesn't mean, they're not still people, right?
Right.
Um,
And
so
who's to say, are we, and this, I'll call it, this is what I call the others theory. I don't know if you've seen that movie, The
uh,
Others.
I don't think I have. I'm going to look into it though.
Oh my gosh, now I might be giving it away.
That's all right. That's all right.
You have to see it. Nicole Kidman, great movie.
Okay.
But what has me thinking, and I call it the others theory, because of like, well, do they see us or do they perceive us as ghosts?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we perceive them as ghosts, but
Exactly.
to them, do they feel like they're still very much alive
Right.
and just living on their own, like in their own timeline, in their own space?
That's very fascinating, you know?
So it's kind of like, that's why I'm like trying to ask those questions now to
Right.
kind of
Kind of,
like, because I think that they are around us all the time.
I agree. Yeah.
And because there's so many people even like that don't do what we do and go into these places and investigate, but that have had experiences. Probably everybody that I've ever talked to has had some sort of experience,
Right.
in some capacity that they can't explain.
Exactly.
And,
Yes.
Whether that's with a loved one or in a location,
Mhm.
it's just that it's just what I feel and believe doing what I
Mhm.
do and what I'm doing and what I know to be true. So
Yep. I feel the same way, you know, and it's funny because I've talked to people that are, you know, the most diehard skeptics. They do not believe in anything. Like once you die, the record stops. That's it. But you know, they'll say something like, "Oh, the weirdest thing happened the other day," and you know, me knowing what it is, I'm like, you know, that was a spiritual thing. But I don't want to say it because then they'll never believe it anyway, you know.
yeah,
But you know, it's funny to me, and I do think that things happen like that all the time. Some very impactful, and some very subtle. You know.
yes. Yeah. I think for the
And what?
most part, they can be very subtle because I
Yeah.
think we're not remembering. I think that we think like when we're investigating that they're going to respond to us like if they had a physical form. Um,
Right.
but they don't. Like, and
Right.
then you have
Right.
to think like, how are they communicating if they don't have a body?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
How are
Yeah.
they don't have a voice to voice, like how are they then speaking to us? Like,
Right.
is it
Yep.
in our minds that we're hearing them? Is it, but we're able to capture them on, you know, electronic means by with a
Right.
camera or with a digital recorder.
Hmm.
So there are a lot of questions that keep remaining unanswered.
Absolutely.
Maybe there's something to the fact that maybe we're not supposed to know until we cross over. But
Yep.
I'd like to have more of the answers now.
I
But
know. I know. You
but
know, it's
that's what
fascinating that you said that.
yeah. And that's
Sorry, but I just.
that's one of the other things I asked too in the question. And this is another movie that had me thinking that maybe I would ask this question to see if it's true or not. But
Yeah.
I will ask them: are there any rules for the dead to communicate with the living?
Ah,
And that
interesting. Okay.
and a couple of times I've gotten a yes. And then
Interesting.
when we get a yes, it's like, can you tell me what those rules are? No.
No. Yeah. Like then why even bring it up? God damn it. Yeah.
I
You
know.
know.
But what
It's
had
so
me
funny. It's
think of
almost like they
that,
got the dangling the carrot. You know. It's like
yeah. And what had me think of that is, funny enough, is the movie Beetlejuice, right? Because they have the
oh
handbook
yeah.
for the recently
Oh my.
deceased. And
That's right. Yeah.
I'm thinking, I wonder if, because there's certain, it just seems like, that they're holding back and that
Right.
there's maybe certain places or certain ways they can communicate, but they may not be able to give everything to us. And I've actually asked some other mediums who say that that is exactly true, that when they communicate with like spirit guides, that they will tell them they can only tell them so much and they can only give
Yeah.
them so much of what the other side is like. And that there's there's reasons for that. And, you know,
That just kind of blew my mind a little bit, honestly, because no one's ever put it to me that way. But I've done many, many, many readings, right? And there, people's loved ones will say things like, "Look, don't be in a rush to join us. Live your life to the fullest, and when it's your time, it's your time. But in the meantime, just get all you can out of life. But no, stay here as long as possible." You wouldn't believe how many times I've heard from people's loved ones, "Stay on the earth plane as long as possible." And I'm thinking, well, is there like some weird spiritual Jabberwocky on the other side that's like that you got to hide from? Like, what's that all about? And granted, yes, I think they're right. Stay here as long as possible. We are earthly beings, and we got to live that experience. But I wonder why they never say anything like that. That's fascinating, and that validates a lot for me. Thank you.
you're welcome.
But it's true. They leave that part out, and that is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And because I had that,
I think that if we maybe knew that there was something on the other side, which I think a lot of us, I know for myself, I just know, and I don't know, how I know, I just know. Right. That's the only way I can put it. But if we knew that there was another side, maybe we wouldn't take living every day like, it was our last and living life to the fullest. If we knew that there was something on the other side, like, right? Because then we might be like, oh, well, this life sucks and I want out, because I know there's some place to go. It's like, no, you gotta be present, live in the moment. Like,
I think Chris got knocked off for a minute. So, but yeah, what you guys are talking about?
What happened?
Yeah, what you guys are talking about is so interesting to me because, in my experience, I have said, is there something that you can tell me, or is there something, like the rules type thing, and nobody will say anything. Like,
right?
I'm like, okay, there has to be a whistleblower spirit out there somewhere now. Come on.
Yes, I think that there is something like that they, okay, you can communicate with those who can, like hear you, see you, feel you, whatever, but you can only do so to a certain extent. And then you don't want to like cross this line, right?
We lost you.
Oh man, that was me. I'm sorry. My said like signal lost. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Like, my internet's fine.
All right.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna pop back out.
So where were we? Sorry about that.
She was just saying that was pretty interesting. Gwen was just saying about how she had that same experience where she's like, if there's something they're not telling us, like, she's had that same thing where it's just like, wait a minute, you're only willing to tell me this much, but like, why not tell me it is like,
yeah.
She's like, oh my God, that makes so much sense now.
Right. Which it totally does, and I hope that, I hope that anybody who's watching takes note of that, because like, one, how you approach readings is very, I really, like I said, I really think that more people need to start doing that, treating the energies and the people that are there like the people that they were,
Absolutely.
And also it's like, if someone's from the 1800s, let's say, and they see all these light gadgets, they might be like, what the hell is that? I'm not touching that. That thing scares me.
All the time.
I try to explain to them.
Yep. That's exactly, I was just going to say that's exactly what we do. So like the first and foremost, before we investigate anywhere, obviously we make sure that we're walking in our intention, right? To communicate is all we're walking in. We want to communicate. We want it to be positive. We don't want to communicate with any energies that, are outside of that. We just want to connect with energies that are positive and that want to communicate with us. We're not going to force you to communicate. We understand that you were people just like us, and all we want to do is hear your story. So we'll walk in and we'll introduce ourselves first and just say, hi, my name is Rachel. I'm just here tonight because I want to hear your story. And, and if you don't want to talk to me, that's okay too. I'm just here to listen. That's all I'm
That's
here
great.
to do. And, yeah, thank you. And then, but we honestly haven't had, any real like truly negative experience. And because we just don't engage with that, and we don't believe that that's what we're there for. We're not going to provoke. That's never our intention. I think if you're going to walk in there and your intention is to provoke and try to force communication, then what are you going to get back? You're going to get back an upset and angry spirit. I mean, if I walked into somebody's, home and disrespected them, are they going to be happy with me?
No. No.
Respect the energies, treat them like they're humans. And then the other thing is, we explain every piece of equipment that we have with us.
That's awesome.
And a lot of times we'll just say their lights, all they do is to help us to be able to know that you're here, because we can't always see you or hear you or feel you. Sometimes if you come real close to our energies, then we can feel you, or this person might be gifted and they could see you in their mind, and that might be a way that you can communicate with us. Or there's equipment here that's all it is. It's not going to hurt you. It's not one of our most popular, and I think equipment that seems to be a hit no matter where we go is the dead bell.
Oh yeah. Yep.
and we believe there's a reason why. The bell has been synonymous for hundreds of years.
Yeah. Yep.
People know what a bell is. Like whether they're actually I don't think they're actually pressing the bell. I think their energies come because it puts out an EMF field, and all their energies has to do is come in contact with that field to get the bell to ding. And so, that's what we explain to them. If you come close to it, you'll be able to make it ring,
Yep.
And so, I mean, it seems like that seems to work to get them to use, the technology too.
And that's also a great thing too. I mean, I think that like you said, the bell's been around for a long time, and anybody, regardless of the past or the present, is going to know how to work a bell and just ding it, So
Exactly.
being more intelligent and practical in the approaches to get them to be able to communicate with things like that is that's smart. That's clever. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, we are getting close to the end of our time, but I would love to just have you tell people what projects you have going, and how people can find you to get a hold of you for anything that you offer.
Yeah. Oh, there's a bunch of ways you can reach. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, as my name down below, Rachel Ravensvale. I'm also, you can connect through Liminal Shadow Paranormal. I'm on there as well. And also on TikTok that way, Liminal Shadow. And I think it's under TikTok, it's Spooky Rach, I think it is. And then I'm also have a podcast as well with my co-hosts, Katie and Haley, which is the Hallowed Hearth Podcast.
That's awesome.
So we're on there. And then if you come out to some Paracons, I'm going to be at Rock Island Roadhouse, that Paracon. It's their Esoteric Expo.
Nice.
I'll also be in Scranton, Pennsylvania at Underworld Culture Con.
Oh yeah, I'll see you there.
Yes. And then I'm going to be as a guest in New Orleans Paracon. So
that's awesome.
I'm taking that as a vacation.
Yeah.
New Orleans is my home space, and I'm gonna go enjoy it there as an early birthday gift to myself. But
that's
I'm
awesome.
gonna also be at Coastal Haunts Paracon.
Yep.
So be there. Trying to think of anywhere else like this year. Oh, yes, I'm supposed to be at. We're going to be doing an event where the girls from the Hallowed Hearth, we're going to be hosting at Oh gosh, what's it called now? Oh, I'm trying to blank. Oh, it's the Haunted Pine Lawn Manor in Illinois. It's a newer kind of location, but it's very, very active. And we're going to be doing it on Halloween itself. They're going to be hosting a little pop-up Paracon.
Yeah.
And so will be family friendly. And then it'll shift to that night will be an investigation that we'll be leading.
Very
so
cool.
That's on October 31st, and tickets are available for that. So
that's awesome. Yeah. I feel like we only scratched the surface. I feel like I could talk to you for another 3 hours, which is always good.
Right?
It goes by so quick, unfortunately, but fortunately, but unfortunately, right? But it has been an absolute pleasure to talk with you and just kind of to learn from you. And I have learned a lot. I think if you don't mind, I'm going to adopt some of the practices that you talked about because I think it's so crucial. And sometimes I go into these investigations and I just let whatever comes to me as an empathic person myself. But some of the more investigative stuff and the more explaining and just kind of getting to that level, I'm ashamed to admit I never really kind of put it in that way. But I'm going to start doing that, and I thank you for that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Learn from Rachel. She's smart. She knows what she's doing.
Thank you.
But no, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been a blast.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed my time.
Good. And check her podcast out. Check everything that she's doing. Hit her up for anything you need. And Gwen, if you want to pop on, we'd love to have you back.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Hey, guys. Interesting conversation. I'm always in the back listening, of course.
That was great. That was a really good show, I think. That was awesome. So
it was. And I have to agree with Rachel. I've investigated last year. I've investigated from Wisconsin to South Carolina and that at all kinds of locations. And I usually use very simple equipment, like just me and a couple of little simple things like a flashlight. Now I do like my spirit box. I'm guilty. Love it. Estes method is my thing. I'm one of those people who gets it. You can do it. And some people can't. So, but I got to agree. I walk in and they're people. They're just on another, I'm going to say frequency than us. So
that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
We can contact them and I treat them and I walk in and respectful and it's all about the intention and that kind of thing. I totally agree with you.
I think one thing that really kind of blew my mind is when you were talking about them seeing us as ghosts like that. That's a cool, there's something to that. I think, maybe sometimes when you hear like a disembodied scream, it's because they saw us. Like if we saw them and we scream, oh my God, it's a person, and they're like, oh my God, it's a ghost. Like, I don't know. It makes me wonder,
Check out that movie. Check out The Others if you haven't seen it. It is such a good movie.
Do you know where it's streaming on? Is it like Netflix or Hulu or anything like that?
I'm not sure. I'm sure it's probably somewhere.
Yeah, if you look it up. Yeah,
I'll check it out.
Yeah, just check it out. I know it's out there on one of them. Everybody has all these. We can find stuff.
I know there's so many streaming. There's bound to be something, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely gonna check that movie out.
Probably even get it, maybe even on Amazon Prime or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. I bet you could. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So Rachel, I have a question because if you said it, I missed it. What day is your podcast on and what time?
Oh, it's on Thursday nights. Thank you for asking. At 9:30 Eastern.
Very cool.
And how did they find it?
Oh, sorry, 9 p.m. Eastern. What am I thinking? It's 9 p.m. Eastern. They can find it on YouTube, or we have it on. We always post the link on our Facebook page on the Hallowed Hearth Podcast.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I will have to. I'm busy, but I will definitely try to check it out for you.
Yeah,
that's Chris. I'm a little bit busy, but it's okay. I will check it out.
Busy is good. Busy is good.
Busy is good, right?
Well, we support others. I mean, even if we have one at the same time, we still support them. So that's how we
absolutely.
Are. Yeah. So, hey guys, good show. Chris, do you have anything coming up you want to talk about? Like
well, I just I have to have my schedule in front of me. I'm so terrible at this stuff. I do have a couple of gallery readings coming up. I think I'll be at the Footlights Theater coming up in July. That's in Falmouth, Maine. But just kind of doing my thing until then. Nothing too crazy.
And your stuff is on your Facebook page too, right? and
Yep.
like your
Yep.
schedule.
All my stuff is either on my personal page or the Psychic Medium Christopher page. I did just launch a YouTube channel if anybody is interested. It's called Unfiltered Mediumship. You can check that out too. It's right on YouTube. So
I just checked it out last week. So yep. Some people don't tell me, even though I'm their producer, they don't tell me things they do.
that's not true. I totally told you.
You mentioned it, and then it kind of went away. So yeah, I know. I have to give him I have to give him a hard time, Rachel.
we wouldn't be friends if you didn't give me a hard time, right?
Exactly.
I am
That's
actually
right.
going to get in the same space as Chris sometime this year again.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, we are. I love to see my people and go and support them, but I am going to do my best to be. Rachel, you said you're going to Rock Island. Are you going to Gettysburg or anything else?
I wish I was going to Gettysburg, but I'm not. Maybe next year.
Yeah,
I
I'll be there. I was just hoping that maybe I could connect, when.
Yeah, but I'll be at Rock Island, New Orleans, Paracon.
You are going to New Orleans?
Yes.
I will be there.
Very cool.
See, we are, look us up. We'll both be at New Orleans, and then Chris is going to be all over. So go look him up. But you guys, it's been a great show.
I will.
I know it's late, so I am going to say, Chris, tell us good night, and Rachel, tell us good night.
All right.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.